Hello, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to a review of this, and this is the woolen bush shirt from a company called Kamouflage. So who is this company called Kamouflage and what is this shirt they make? Well, Kamouflage is a veteran-owned company based in the northwest of England, up in Cheshire, and they don't primarily do bushcraft equipment. They do all sorts of stuff to do with surveillance, etc. However, the guy who runs the company has a very keen interest in bushcraft, and he thought he would have a go at producing a range of British-made bushcraft items. So I've been looking at Kamouflage on Instagram. I've been looking at them for a while, and their feed, some of the stuff they do is quite interesting. And we'd had a bit of a conversation, and they said, would I be interested in reviewing their new product, their bush shirt? Which, well, for any of you who watch the channel will know I have a fair amount of experience in bush shirts, particularly making my own. I've used lots of other ones out there and found, yeah, on the whole, they were somewhat lacking, or they were overpriced, or I didn't particularly like the fabric. And so I normally make my own. But these guys said, would I like to have a look at it? Yes, I would. So they sent me over this one. Now, what I want to start off with is the service. As I said, we'd had this conversation about a bush shirt, and 2 days later, I received the said item in the post, which I thought was pretty good because this item is made to order. From when I said, yes, I'd be interested, first questions they asked are, what size did I want? And we talked through sizing, because I wanted something that, I didn't want something massive. I wanted something that would still go over other items, but still be small enough to put on underneath something else. So I had a conversation and we said, well, we'd go for a large. And I just wanted their large standard model. So it was made up to order, and within a few hours of me saying yes, I would do a review, I got a photograph of the said item finished, ready to go in the post. And I think that level of service is pretty good, because effectively what you are getting is an item that is made to order. So that was the service. Next thing I want to talk about is the fabric, because as I said, I have quite a bit of experience of the traditional style bush shirts, the swan dry, etc. And I tend to know what I'm getting. So when this parcel arrived, the first thing that struck me was how light and how small it was. It wasn't what I was expecting at all. I was expecting a parcel that was sort of this big and weighed quite a bit. This wasn't. It was about half the size and weight that I was expecting. Upon opening it and examining the fabric, I found out why. It's a very different fabric. If you're used to using swan dries and those type of garments where it's almost like a felted wool, it's very dense, a bit like the old-fashioned duffel coat for those of you who are old enough to wear them. It was very dense weave. You'd hold it up to the light, you couldn't see through it, it would pretty much stop everything. This is a very, very different type of fabric, and Kamouflage started off with the fabric. They searched high and low until they could find the right fabric, which is made here in the UK, and they make it up in their workshop up in Cheshire. And it's a lovely, lovely fabric. It's 100% wool. If you're not used to wearing wool, then you might find it a little bit itchy, but if like me you wear wool a lot, it's absolutely fine. It's a nice soft texture, it's very airy, it's very stretchy as well. And what you tend to find with a lot of wool products is there's a bit of give in there, but it's not particularly stretchy. These, as you can see, are lovely and stretchy. And what that means is you've got unrestricted movement. It's not like wearing something made from a traditional wool fabric, like the stuff that Swan Dry uses. This is more like wearing a jumper. It very much has that feel and that lightness to it. It's not at all windproof, which I found a little bit strange to start with, and I thought, well, I'm not that keen on that. But now, having used it for a few weeks, actually I quite like it, because unlike with a lot of the wool garments that you get out there, you overheat and you have to take it off, remove a couple of layers, put it back on again. With this you don't. Air is circulating around you all the time. If you do get cold, it's a matter of just putting a layer on over the top, whether that be your poncho or a windproof or whatever. But for most of the time, I found this fabric to be great. Now, although it isn't particularly windproof, it does resist the rain very, very strangely. I couldn't quite get my head around it, but as you saw in the clip at the beginning, it was chucking it down. And that day I was out for 7 hours, and when I got back in, and it was howling, it was awful, it was cold, etc., and I was just doing a regular day's work. But when I got in, I actually didn't feel particularly wet at all. Under normal circumstances, I would have put on a waterproof or a poncho. I always carry a poncho in my haversack. But that day, because I was field testing it, I thought I won't bother. And I was pleasantly surprised. I was, well, in fact, a little bit amazed at how dry I was at the end of the day. So the next thing we'll look at is the actual construction of the garment. And it is basic. If you are used to garments that are manufactured in a modern way, then you'll be used to seeing overlocked edges so that they don't fray. Well, one of the things with this fabric is somehow in the making process it resists fraying, which I was a little bit skeptical of at first, but having used it for a few weeks, I'm not seeing any trace of fraying on any of the edges. It's really, really impressive. The actual stitching of the garment, it's well done. It's a single row of multi zigzag. So instead of the stitches running along like that in a straight line, these run like so in a tight weave all the way around on all of the seams. It's well put together. It's simple in its construction. There's nothing flashy, but it works. So the next thing that I want to talk about is the actual design itself. It's a very simple design. It's basically your bog standard hoodie. And they've used that same pattern. I know because I've used the same pattern myself on quite a few garments, and it's a great pattern. It's loose, it fits well, it's comfortable. It's a great design. In some ways, I was expecting somebody to have copied what's already out there, copied the Swan Dry, or indeed copied the Leicester River boreal type anorak with the gusset up around the front, which is what you tend to see. There's a whole load of winging their way in from China, and that's exactly what they've done. They've just copied what's out there. The guys at Kamouflage haven't. They've gone their own way. They've taken a pattern that they know is comfortable, that they know that works. They've modified it a little bit for the fabric, but to be honest, with this type of fabric, because it is so nice and stretchy, it behaves like a sweatshirt fabric. Just this is wool, and it brings all of the good things, all those good qualities that wool has with it. It's got this little gusset at the front, which allows you to close it up a little bit. It's got quite a wide open neck, and I think certainly with my one, I will probably make a way of closing this off, but I'll talk more about those sort of bits later on in the video. It's got a hood, which from my point of view, I thought was a very large, oversized hood. However, when the weather was really crap, as you saw in that video, I was actually glad of that very big, deep hood. It's got a nice, comfy hand warmer pocket, and your hands literally just slide in there. Because of the stretchiness and the way it's cut, there's no problems getting it on or off, although it is an overhead design. You don't need a zip in the side. It pulls on really, really easy. The sleeves are cut long enough that actually on a cold day you can just pull your hands inside the sleeves. So the design, although simple, I think is really, really good. There is nothing wrong with a simple design. In fact, look at the LK35 rucksack. You couldn't get much more simple than that, and yet it is an amazingly popular bushcraft style rucksack. Now, because these items are pretty much made to order, one of the things that they offer is an add-on service. So if you want a chest pocket, they can put it on. If you want a draw cord hidden away in the waist, they can add that in. If you want a small hood or something that closes off the neck, they can do it. In fact, there's a whole list of things that I'm going to send them over, suggestions. No lost pockets on the bottom, thumb loops on the sleeves, so that these turn the sleeves into almost like a pair of mitts. And it's all stuff that they can do. And having spoken to them, they've put a list of things already on their website, things that you can check. Yes, there is an extra cost, but you're pretty much getting a garment that is tailor-made to your spec. So the question you're all dying to know, would I buy this item? Yes, I would. For several reasons. Number one, it's a bit different. It's not the same as Swan Dry. It's not a rip-off of the Boreal Anorak or the Leicester River. This is completely individual, and it's made in the UK from UK produced materials. And I like that. I think that is really, really important, especially with the world climate as it is at the moment. I also like the fact that it's customizable, in that you can send it to them and they will add the bits on that you want. I will probably do a whole load of pimping on this myself because I can, but I know a lot of you guys out there, you're not brilliant with a sewing machine. In fact, loads and loads of you who contact me and say, I really like your wool bush shirt, I'm rubbish with a sewing machine, can you make me one? And I send back a message that says, nah, sorry, I haven't really got the time. Talk to these people about getting one of these. I think they're a really, really good item. And now, having used it, I'll be honest, when I first got it and I took it out of the packaging, yes, I was surprised by how light it was, but I wasn't too sure about the look of it or the functionality of it. Having used it for a couple of weeks in all sorts of weathers and used it at work and at play, etc., I actually really like it, and I think it's got the comfort of an old comfy jumper or that old hoodie that you just always chuck on, you always resort to, with all the practicalities that wool brings with it. No, it's not amazingly windproof, but surprisingly it does keep the wet out. The windproof element to it, I quite like the air circulating around it. And as I said, if I want to warm up, I just pull a layer on over the top. And in doing so, this looser weave, which I hasten to add also dries a lot quicker than the likes of your Swan Dry. Because of all those air pockets in it, it holds the warm air around you very, very well. And so this is a warm garment. It could be used in several ways. It could be the warm kit that is stashed in your rucksack for when you stop, or this could be your outer layer for through the day for working in, because it's very comfy. You don't overheat in it. I think it's a cracking bit of kit. So if you are in the market for a wool bush shirt, I'd recommend that you go out and get one of these. Now they cost 120 quid, which is quite expensive. However, if when you order it, you quote Greencraft10, that's a discount code and it will get you 10% off. So straight away, maths isn't my strong point, but I think that knocks about 12 quid. So it's £108. They'll also throw in free postage and packing within the UK. So that straight away brings the cost right down. And I think what you're getting is a good quality bit of kit. Yeah, there's a few changes I would make. I'd probably go around all the seams again where they've multi-zigzagged. I do a line of straight stitch as well, but that's me. I'm very belt and braces in how I do things and how I construct things. And I think probably having watched this video, the guys at Kamouflage will take that on board, and I would expect that's probably going to be one of the things that you will start to see. So as I said, if you're in the market for a woolen bushcraft smock, talk to Kamouflage, quote the discount code, away you go. So there you go. That is my review of this. The wool bush shirt by Kamouflage. I think it's a cracking item. If you are looking for one, I'll put a link in the description box down below. Follow that link. It will take you straight to the page. Quote Greencraft10 to get you 10% discount off there and your free postage and packing if you're in the UK and you're away. If you've enjoyed this video and you have found it useful, then remember, hit that thumbs up button. Also, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, remembering to hit the notifications bell so that you know when I've got new stuff coming up, and there's going to be some cracking stuff coming up over the next few weeks, COVID willing. Also, if you look down in my description box down below, there are the links to my Facebook page and my Instagram page. Pop over there, have a look. I post quite regularly so you can see what sort of stuff I'm up to. Also, while you're down there, there is a link to the Greencraft shop over on Etsy. You can pop over there and have a look. There might be a bit of stuff left. Thank you very much to all of you guys who went on and purchased items yesterday. You are amazing. You virtually cleared me out. I've got a busy week this week, getting to the post office and getting behind that sewing machine to hammer a load more stuff out, hopefully in time for next weekend, and I'll get another load up. Oh, I think that is everything. Oh, there's a Patreon page, there's a link down there. If you want to get involved with the channel, help support the channel, then subscribe via Patreon. I think that is everything. I've been Neil, and until next time, stay safe.